Well, today is Safer Internet Day. The 2018 theme, Create, Connect and Share Respect, a better internet starts with you, is a call to action for every stakeholder to play their part in creating a better internet for everyone, especially children. Until an ideal safe internet is achieved, parents and guardians need to know how to protect their wards from online predators. Children are a click away from sites and other online communities that take advantage of their innocence and curiosity. Are you a parent or a guardian wondering how to protect your ward? Well, our in-house tech consultant, Kobe Spike Nkrumah, has some tips. Hello, Kobe.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us. Interesting conversation we're going to be having today. But first, let's talk about this. Is it possible ever to achieve, if there's any term like 100% safe internet?
My first instinctive answer would be no. Reason being that, there's this story, there's this proverb that says when the hunter learns how to shoot without missing, the bird will also learn to fly without perching. So once the security keeps getting tighter, the black hats also keep finding a way around it. So that's basically why I may say we can't have a 100% safe internet.
All right, but while stakeholders work to achieve that, let's talk about protecting young people, because it can get really scary.
Yes.
Kobe, children are click away. I mean, curious, at that stage in life, especially when they hit the teenage years, they are very, very curious, and they may hear something from a friend and may want to check it out on the internet. How do parents and guardians protect their children from online predators?
Well, there are numerous ways they could protect their children. One of them is basically them taking internet seriously. A lot of parents don't even know the internet. It's the children that teach them about the internet. So when you have that kind of situation, then you can't even tell what the child is doing online. You can't tell whether they're going to websites that are safe or not. They don't even know whether there are websites that are safe. They don't know how to protect them. So first things first, parents really need to get involved in how their children go online, where they visit, and they have to put boundaries.
How do you do that?
For instance,
if your child has a phone and they're in their room, how do you put boundaries or barriers?
Well, that's difficult to do. But then if you tell your child that, hey, you're only allowed to use your phone between such and such hours, you can control that. You can control how long, and if you build that relationship with your child and then the child knows that I can't go beyond this, maybe I'll be grounded or I'll be beaten, excuse that, but then they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't go online. So you have to control how long they stay online. And then if you can too, you have to put in measures to protect them from which websites they go to. There are softwares that you can install on the computers that prevent them from going on to certain websites that are not good for them. So there's that, and then you can also have your ISP block certain websites. Your ISP is your internet service provider. So for instance, if my internet service provider is Vodafone, I can tell them, Vodafone, I don't want my internet to be able to access these sites. So
it's like how some offices, prevent their workers from accessing social media sites. All right. Okay, and Kobe, you just hold on a bit, because we've been joined by Albert Ntwi-Boesiako. He's a cybersecurity expert and he's been working closely with government to achieve a better cyber environment in Ghana. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Boesiako.
Hi. Good morning.
Great to have you. Good morning, Mr. Boesiako. First of all, let's talk about this, because I've asked Spikey as a tech person. You're a cybersecurity expert. Is it ever possible to achieve 100% safe internet?
Well, that's an interesting question. 100% in any human endeavor is an impossibility. However, with collective effort of all stakeholders, we can achieve what we call significant level of safety as far as our user behavior on the internet is concerned. I'm talking of stakeholder because the government is one stakeholder. We have the civil society, we have individuals, we have parents who are all stakeholders in this. And there are different dimensions that we need to look at in addressing the issue of cyber risk. We're talking of the technology itself, we're talking of the human actions and inaction. We're talking of legislation. And a day like this, Safer Internet Day is meant to, bring various players within the ecosystem together to create that kind of awareness and discuss some of the common, best practices, the best user behavior to ensure that we are able to minimize the risks, confronted at the individual level, at the organizational level, and also to the large extent the state, which is obviously the government.
Well, Mr. Boesiako, you've been working closely with government on cybersecurity and its related issues. Do you find that we have the various stakeholders attaching some level of importance to this issue as other countries do?
Oh, the cyber problem, in my professional perspective, is both a technological but also a cultural problem, right? So whilst on one hand you need to put the necessary security and safeguards in place to ensure the technology delivers a positive and make positive impact on the life of citizens, there is also another huge dimension that we need to confront as a country, that our culture towards cybersecurity. What is naturally our orientation? How do we perceive the risks online? How do we mitigate them? How do we invest in cybersecurity? So it is a problem. Even though within the last few months, I think a lot of progress being made at the government level in terms of driving, cybersecurity agenda of the country. Last week we had a National Cybersecurity Week, and the Ministry of Communication, which has oversight responsibility on cybersecurity, is currently putting certain measures in place that include awareness campaign programs, to help ensure some kind of resilience as far as our user behavior, our cyberspace is concerned. But we need to also look at the problems at the individual level. What is the role of a parent, for example, who lives with a teenager, who uses a smart device? That parent has got a role to play to ensure that the child is able to use the internet responsibly. Then we also have businesses. What is the level of cyber threat targeting businesses in this country, and how our business is investing in cyberspace? Comparatively, not too good in terms of investment. Other countries are doing quite well. So, as a government, we're promoting the need for some of this investment to be done. And of course, the government sector is also an important area that needs to be, looked at in terms of how do our public officials, government appointees, use the internet in a way that data is protected, both their personal data, but also the data belonging to the government to safeguard. These are some of the dimensions that on a day like this we are reflecting on and looking at the best practices possible, the technology solutions available, stakeholder engagement to be able to address some of those.
Finally, before you leave, Mr. Boesiako, in Ghana, for example, we seem to have a more flexible cyberspace where almost anything is accessible, whereas in other countries, some sites are, totally banned. Some social media sites and outlets are totally banned. Do you think that having such quote-unquote rigid cyberspace can also help create a certain environment for vulnerable people like children, and quite recently, like we are seeing, people who are being taken advantage of in terms of their nude photos and videos being shared?
I do understand you. We need to look at our country. Ghana is a country of law. The internet itself was also developed based on liberty, some kind of fundamental freedom. And look at our motto as a country, freedom and justice. Maybe, possibly, we need to step up the justice bit. But that inherent freedom online is enshrined in our constitution, and I think that is what our leaders across the political divide have been promoting as a country. And I fully support that idea. Rather than looking at, restricting use, the freedom of users on the internet, I don't think that has been the approach as a country. But unfortunately, I think we need to rather also look at our behavior. Because we are not responsibly, using the internet despite the various risks and issues that comes with it. So, one, yes, I believe we should step up in terms of our enforcement. The laws are there. For example, we have a Data Protection Act, we have the Electronic Transaction Act. So the justice bit, in my view, has to be stepped up to be able to bring the people who do not conform to legally acceptable behavior, to book. And then we can allow the very people who use the internet responsibly to enjoy whichever side that they want to visit. So yes, I don't think it's a way to go for us to start blocking social media sites. But
all right.
On the other hand, let's step up our enforcement so that it can also serve as a deterrent. People who undermine the collective benefit of the internet.
Thank you very much for your time this morning. Albert Enchi-Boesiakun is a cybersecurity expert, sharing his thought with us on today being Safer Internet Day. Back to our in-house tech guy, Kobe. So quickly, just help parents, because, obviously you and Albert have agreed that we may not be able to achieve 100% safe internet, especially for young children who are very vulnerable, and some sites and communities will take advantage of their curiosity and independence. You've told us that parents can speak to their internet service providers and say, look, I don't want my internet service at home to reach so-and-so sites. Quickly, briefly, what else can they do so they protect their children's innocence and curiosity? Sure.
So some of the things they could do, some are just, for instance, it's a relationship with your child. You can instruct your child, if you see anything on the internet that is not comfortable, it does not make you comfortable, come to me and tell me what it is. And then some parents, although in much more developed countries, they don't encourage that, but you should be able to go into your child's phone or computer and then check their history, their browsing data, and then see which websites they've been to. That would be very helpful. That helps you see what they are browsing.
And that can only happen if, as a parent, you are even, really, tech savvy. So, thank you very much, Kobe Nkrumah, our in-house tech consultant, for giving us all the updates. Well, there'll be a lot more tonight on Joy FM at 8 p.m. 7 p.m. it is. The Geek Squad will be there. Kobe and some friends will be talking about cybersecurity. So do make a date as one of our newly launched programs. 7 p.m. Joy 99.7 FM with Kobe and his Geek Squad. Thank you so much for coming.